Hello, Generals. This is Fiasco, and we are jumping into a new series with Dark Souls Remastered. So, Dark Souls came out in, I want to say, 2012, 13, somewhere in there. It is an over the shoulder action RPG, and the series here is intended for newer players, and it's going to be kind of a walkthrough in the game, how to get through some of the, you know, early item runs and some of the more tricky bosses and that kind of thing. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to jump in and create our character. So you name yourself, and then pick your gender, pick your class. What is the deal? Yeah, okay, we're fine. All right, so I'm picking the cleric. Any class will work in the beginning. Any class can do anything. If you're a beginner player, the warrior is a solid choice. It's just kind of able to handle pretty much any weapon. Starts with a solid strength and dexterity to start off with, and the longsword has a phenomenal moveset. Knight is an option if you want to go pure strength or something like that. It's actually an interesting lead into a cleric type build because it starts with a relatively high faith, and it's not deeply thrown into any direction. So it's got 10 attunement, which means it has one spell slot, and an 11 faith, which means it's one shy of casting the heal miracle. Wanderer, this is your kind of ranger type character, and can be a dex fighter, but it also has relatively high attunement, relatively high intelligence, and can kind of go into a lot of different directions. Plus, the Wanderer set looks super sick, and it actually has excellent resistances for both lightning and physical damage for the weight. So there's that to think about. Wanderer actually makes a good strength intelligence build. So if you wanted to build a sorcerer, but you wanted to make it more of a strength-based character, because this dexterity is 14, you don't need to put any more points, basically, I don't think, into dexterity to wield most of the great swords. There are a handful that you might need to bump it up to 16 to utilize the great swords for. Now, you will need to pump your strength, obviously, but that's that. Thief starts with the master key, and that means you can choose a different gift. And if you are a parry-based player, if you're a player who's more skilled and knows how to use parries, his buckler makes him very well suited to that kind of a playthrough. Bandit is long been one of my favorite classes. It starts just with a ridiculous strength, good endurance, good hit points. This is a great beginner class for kind of a barbarian high strength kind of character. Also starts with the spider shield, which is phenomenal. Spider shield is 100% block, relatively light, and also includes the ability to resist poisons. I've not used Hunter. I don't know anybody personally who's used Hunter. It starts with a bow, which is okay. The sorcerer is your obvious starting point if you want to go as a sorcerer. Some would also argue the wanderer would work as well, but the sorcerer is the more obvious direct build into being a caster type character. And pyro is one of the more efficient starting points for any character. The pyromancer can it's soul level 1, which is one of the best parts about it, and the hand axe is actually kind of a good weapon, and pyromancy is a very powerful school of magic in the game. And then deprived is, it's if you want to go hard mode, basically. It starts off with just this shitty wooden shield and this club, and nothing else, as you can see, and 11's in every stat, which is kind of inefficient. So we're going to jump in with cleric. I think it's pretty beginner friendly because you start off with another heal, so you've got 2 different heals. One you can use in combat, one you can use out of combat. I'm not going to have you guys watch the starting video because that just seems like I'm padding for time. So the game starts, you're in this place called the Undead Asylum, and this is where undead go, basically. And it's sort of kind of like the islands or the colonies they used to put lepers in. And you're just kind of hanging out in your cell when a knight drops a key through a hole in the roof. And that basically is the beginning of our journey.
To await the end of the world.
So here's me. Your character will obviously look different depending on, the choices you make. And ostensibly speaking, your character would just spend the rest of eternity here because, undead, right? But then things get interesting. Oh, look. What's up, dude? All right, cool. Yeah. I didn't want to talk to you either. It's fine. Okay, so we are finally in the beginning of the game. This is my player. He is currently what's called hollow. And so that's kind of this little gnarly appearance here. So the shtick of the game is everybody on this island is undead. And that's great. You can be undead and you can keep dying forever. And every time you die, a little bit of your humanity gets kind of sharded away. So there's this dude. He's a pain in the ass later in the game. You're going to see a lot of these undead here kind of hanging out. They're not hostile, and they don't give you enough souls to really make it worth your time to really bother kind of taking the time to fight them. These hash marks here, they're messages. Right now, they're messages from the game. Later on, they'll be messages from the players. The game is just sort of giving you instructions on kind of how to play the game. Later on, the ones from players are like 98% troll jokes or sexual innuendo. So, they're usually pretty good for a laugh, but I wouldn't always take them seriously. Now, sometimes you'll see folks who will use the message for its intended purpose, and they'll put a message down in front of a secret door or something. So go ahead and light this bonfire. These serve as kind of your saving points. So on the off chance that my character dies, he would respawn here. And you use bonfires as kind of your safe haven. You'll do your leveling up there. You'll upgrade your weapons. There's all kinds of fun stuff. Eventually, when we learn about the humanity mechanic, you'll go human again when you're there. And humanity in this game serves as both thematic, like, oh, I'm retaining part of my humanity, but it's also... so that monster drops down. Just run over here and go in this door. You can absolutely try and fight him if you are so inclined. That's why there's a fireplace there. Here's another one, so that you're not on this other side of that monster. However, if you try and fight that guy right now, you're equipped with this straight sword hilt. So it's not even a sword, it's like the hilt of a sword. You don't have much of a weapon. Come through here, duck into this room, because there's a guy with a bow and arrow at the other end of the hallway. Put your shield on. For whatever class you are, this shield will be different. So for me, it's the East-West shield. For you, it could be the spider shield or the buckler or something. And then chase this guy, and the body he's standing over will have your weapon. In my case, it's the mace. For you, it could be whatever. And I'm going to come and tell him what I think about his arrow. Not a fan. So, in this case, I'm two-handing the weapon. On the Xbox controller, it's Y. I'm pretty sure on the PlayStation it's triangle, but I can't confirm that off the top of my head. And walk through the little white wall. The white walls kind of operate as like a loading screen, but it's also just a content gate, so nothing on this side will come through to you, i.e. a boss monster. At the top of this stairs, there's a big ball, so go up a couple stairs and then walk off the side. That triggers the trap. The guy will send the ball down. You can come down here and open this gate, which will give you access to, oh look, that bonfire. But we're not done here. So we're going to go up and pop into this room and go meet this dude and have a conversation with him. So he says we're hollow, but we're not. Yep, we're both undead. He's been wounded at some point, so he's going to die. He's giving off some of the stuff so that he doesn't fail his mission ultimately. Exhaust his dialogue. I'm pressing A to make it go faster because this dude can ramble on for a while. He gives you an Estus flask, which is, in the internet is kind of joked as being a bottle of Sunny Delight, which the coloration kind of you can see why. This is your healing potion. And then he gives you a key to keep on going deeper into the dungeon. And as you walk out, he offs himself. And then you come up here, and there's this guy. And just make him go away. Use the key, which if you didn't have this key, this door wouldn't open. The key from the guy down there, the knight. Come out here, and if you are a casting class, so if you are a sorcerer or if you are a cleric, you're going to find your talisman or your catalyst out here. I like putting it over there. You know, whatever. And then there's going to be two guys ready to play. And then this archer, he goes down pretty quick. Now, you can go and take care of the boss, but we're going to go ahead and show the other. This is a better equipped Hollow Knight, or Hollow Soldier type character. And I'm going to just demonstrate the poise mechanic. So poise is a mechanic that allows me to keep swinging through a hit. So right now, because I'm just basically wearing a bathrobe, I can't do that. So I'm going to let him try and hit me. Yeah, so that's what happens when you get hit. And this is... Okay, well, never mind. Wait. Let's time it better. Yeah. So my swing got cut off mid-swing, basically, because I don't have any poise on my gear. So any impact whatsoever will interrupt my attack. And we're here again. No big deal. Any impact whatsoever will interrupt my attack. The knight and some of the heavier armored characters, I believe the knight and the warrior both have equipment that has poise on them at the beginning of the game, and we're going to take some steps to get poise early on. There's a ring that can handle some of that, give you some poise. All right. Keep going. Do-do-do. There you go. It is surprisingly hard to keep a running commentary while I play. There we go. That's a good example of poise. Or a lack thereof. But the game's combat like this is all just basically about timing, positioning, kind of figuring out when the opportunity is for you to strike. And I was going for a backstab there. There it is. All right. So all these enemies have kind of a window in their rear where you can hit them and do more damage. And for a lot of enemies, that's the best tactic, is to try and get a backstab. Because maybe your physical stats make, combat against them a little more difficult or dicey as a proposition. So notice how many times I have to hit this guy to take him down. He's got better armor. He's got probably more health, I imagine. And that shield. I don't think the shield mattered so much. But anyway, be aware that some things are going to be harder to kill than others. All right, so this wall is the thing that separates you between your boss, you and the region boss. This is the Asylum demon. He's relatively straightforward. Two-hand your weapon, walk through, drop off, and R1 attack. You'll see that plunging attack did a significant amount of damage. Be sure to re-equip your shield, and then try and get around his rear. Now, all of this guy's showing you or teaching you the game is the safe way to fight these bosses is essentially to be right up on them, which seems counterintuitive, but because they're often so large, there's a safe space kind of underneath them. Now, if you take as your gift the fire bombs, you can defeat this guy the first time he drops down. He is in that point, a guaranteed 100% drop for this gnarly strength hammer. Or you can try and fight him with that sword hilt. It is possible. So go open the door. Keep on coming up through here. We're going to take a look at two things before we get to the end of the island. First bit is there's a soul packet around here. Soul of a lost undead. Not a very large one. These are items that are essentially packaged souls. You can carry them with you, and unlike the souls on the bottom of my screen, 2,384, when I die I might lose those. The prepackaged souls, they won't go anywhere. So they're safer. And then there's that crow's nest there. That's where Snuggly the crow lives. And you can bring, we'll come back here at some point, you can bring items to him or her and leave them there as a gift, and they'll trade you back resources. So we get this awesome cinematic
Only
kind of telling us our lore.
It is stated that one day an undead shall be chosen
By this gnarly crow.
to leave the undead asylum in pilgrimage to the land of the ancient lords.
Lordran.
Lordran.
Yeah, there it is. Too early. All right, so the rest of the video is basically just the crow drops you off at Firelink, which this is Firelink. This is sort of the hub of the game. All the shortcuts, not all, but a majority of the shortcuts end up coming back here one way or the other. You'll do a lot of your leveling up here, and you'll also interact with a lot of NPCs here. So if you go out and you rescue folks out in the world, they'll come back here. This is the Crestfallen Warrior. He is just going to kind of pout and tell you more about the lore in case you, need an idea of what the mission is. And he basically just tells you your mission is to go ring some bells, which you can probably see from here, but I don't know what angle they are at. Anyway, for me, I'm going to level up. So you go to the bonfire, go down to level up, and I'm going to go ahead and put 2 points into Dex so I can use one of the swords I'm going to pick up, and then another point into Endurance. Endurance, as you can see here, look at the stat equip load. So I put another point in Endurance, and I have more points in Stamina and also more points in equip load. And that is essentially how much armor you can wear while still doing this. So this is light rolling. It is nice and fast. Also, it governs the green bar at the top left of the screen. So every time you try and attack, you consume some of that green bar, and more endurance means you can more attacks before you get tired. It also means when you take a hit with your shield, that also drains from your green bar, and more endurance means you can take more hits before your shield guard block breaks. Anyway, we're going to call it here, and we're going to jump back into the next episode with the item run. This is sort of us farming some of the easy-to-get items to set us off on the best path possible. So without further ado, though, this is Fiasco. Thanks so much for sticking around, and I will see you in the next video.